Pablo.
Good morning, Mr. Paul Reed Smith.
How you doing, Paul?
Is it story time?
Make me get dressed up in my own house.
Hey, man, can you hear me?
How you doing, Paul?
Hey, what's happening, man?
Hey, what's up?
How are you, man? Are you okay?
And that is a ridiculous piece of wood.
Holy shit, Howard, you got the 3/4. Come look, everybody. He's got the 3/4. We multiplied everything times 0.9. He's got the little baby guitar.
Baby bird.
Oh, Howard, it's worth a fortune.
I love this guitar, Paul.
Oh, Howard, it's worth a fortune.
I think when you wired it up, though, you got a couple of wires crossed because it sounds like this when I play it.
That's your pedal. I'm not that stupid.
Oh, that must be it. I thought
That must be your reverse pedal, yeah. Is that the guitar I gave you at NAMM?
yes, the blue one.
Yeah.
That's not only a Paul's guitar, that's Paul's.
It's Paul's guitar, yeah. So can I tell that story right now?
Sure.
So I'll tell this the best I can without it being emotional. The whole Malibu fire thing you were involved in.
Yeah.
And I wanted to help. And I made what I thought was a magic guitar. And so I called you and I said, we're going to be playing at NAMM. Can you come down and play with us? And you said, sure. And you came up and ended up playing with us. And I gave you my guitar because I wanted you to have a good enough instrument to replace some of the ones that you had that you could use when you were doing your Vegas show.
Right.
And I liked that guitar. I thought it sounded really handsome. I thought it had a big, fat, clear tone.
And the thing about it is the note definition for my Vegas show where I play like 30 different songs. I need to cover a lot of ground, and that guitar did almost everything just perfectly. It was real clear on the clean sound, and good definition on the dirty sounds. I've probably played 200 shows with that guitar already so far.
It's great. Why don't we go through each of these guitars? So let me guess at each one, okay? The one you're holding is the one I built for Nancy Wilson. That was everything multiplied times 0.9, which ended up being a 3/4 size guitar. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. The next one, next to your left knee, is we know is worth over $100,000.
Probably twice that.
All right, $200,000. That's the one that was listed in Guitar Player magazine as one of the greatest 100 greatest moments in rock and roll, next to "I Can't Get No Satisfaction." Correct?
That is correct. That's the Golden Eagle.
The Golden Eagle. And we made a whole bunch of those, and the big decision was, do we put the hole in it and the plug where the dresser drawer knob was? And the answer was yes. And the surprise was we painted all the cases like the original case, which you didn't know.
Yeah, I know. You told me that the guys who were doing the tops didn't want to put the hole in it.
They didn't have anything to do with it, yeah. I made them do
I said, if you're going to do the guitar right, you gotta put the hole. I've been trying to get one of the 100 that you made.
these things.
And I can't find one. I got a couple of guys that I know who have them, and they won't turn them loose. So eventually, I'll get one of the 100. But if you gave me the prototype and I bought another one, I had a couple of them. They all burned. These are the ones I saved. Actually, this is the Golden Eagle 2.
Is that the original Golden Eagle, or is that the prototype?
No, that's the real Golden Eagle right
The
here.
real one. I got that guitar from Jeff Adams, the Golden Eagle. I had made it for a guy in a band called Face Dancer and reneged on buying it.
Right.
So, a Polaroid picture of it, and I sent it to a guy named Howard Leese. What did you think when you got that Polaroid picture? What went through your head?
Well, I had never seen flames that beautiful and forward. You know, it wasn't like a Gibson Sunburst. It was a completely different look. But I just thought, you know, I need to go to a bigger guitar because the Heart Band went from 3 guitars to 2. Nancy played acoustic, and I played all the electric at that point. So I needed a bigger sounding guitar. I also like the 24 frets, and it had my So I thought, this is exactly what I'm looking for. And like I said, when I got that guitar, I started playing it live, and I'm, oh my God, this is it. Around the same time, I got one of the very first Soldano amplifiers.
I remember.
That was my magic combination on all those records. And I loved it so much that I asked you to make this one. I remember the single pickup one. The first time you came to the gig, our security wouldn't let you in. I didn't get to meet you that time. All I got was the Polaroid, and you got to one of my tech guys. But when I met you at the Capitol Center again, you brought the piece of wood, this piece of wood, and a jar of acetone.
And I wet it. Yeah. I had to wet the wood with acetone, not with water, because I thought water was the enemy. So acetone stunk really bad, but I showed it to you with acetone. That's true.
Yeah. So you rub the wood down with acetone, and he goes, "Look at this crazy piece of wood," and that is a ridiculous piece of wood.
Yeah.
One of the craziest tops I've ever seen from your guitars.
Yeah.
And so I bought this just on the value of the way that piece of wood looked. Yeah, I love that guitar. When I got this one, I loved it so much, I called you and said, make me another one. But just
like Eddie Van Halen, yeah.
Single pickup, and I'll use it for a backup. And I never needed a backup. This thing played 17 years, every record, every show with the and I never really played that one live. It's still mint, basically.
Yeah. The next one I don't recognize. It's a single cut of some sort.
It's the one when you started doing the new pickups. And one of the prototypes, the new single.
It was the LT pickup prototypes. I remember.
That's right. And that's my main Bad Company live guitar. I use that on the road all the time.
And the next one is a hollow body double cutaway, which I recognize, but I don't recognize. Was that one of the ones to help you replace the guitars from Malibu?
Yes, this one I called Bev and I said, the hollow body that I'm using in this Vegas show is acting up. She goes, well, we should make you a spare. And I go, that would be unbelievable. So I only got 2 months ago. That's when you made me to cover my hollow body spot in the Vegas show.
And the next one is the one that we made, that was my guitar that I gave you, but you've changed the truss rod cover.
I did change the truss rod cover, yeah.
Am I not supposed to notice it?
Well, I guess it's hard to not to notice it. I usually change the knobs and the truss rod covers. So
all right. I'm sorry for noticing. All right, Howard. Now, I've asked you about 6 questions. You get to ask me a couple questions. But before we do that, they want to know, of all the things around you right now, other than those guitars, what's the most interesting thing in your area that you want to tell us about?
Well, that's a tough one. This is a rental house that we're living in while our house is being rebuilt. We should be back in the new house in July or August. So that's coming along really nicely. So that's the main thing. But most of my stuff is still in storage because this is just a rental house.
All right. So it's the guitars and you, the most valuable thing near you. The guitars and you.
Yeah. And my son, Michael, he's here. He's downstairs. He's in the
well, you trade all those for him. So him. All right. So you ask a question now.
Okay, when are you going to make a single cut like this with one pickup?
Any day you ask me to make one.
I just think it would be a killer rig for live.
Okay, but Howard, you just said that you never use it, but you would want us to make you a whole bunch of them, but you never use it.
No, one like the single cut here.
Well, I'm going to tell you a secret right now. By the time we release this, it won't be a secret anymore. Joe Walsh has signed up to make that guitar his model.
Nice.
And I'm telling you, the guy's a gem. He called up, he goes, don't you touch this guitar. You're going to try to change something, I'm going to come kill you. I want you to make sure that you don't change anything. And he's got 5 of them. And he just gave one to a certain rock star in England, and he was on today, and by the time this thing airs, that will be worldwide common knowledge.
Well, I spent a whole summer with Joe 2 years ago. Joe Walsh and Bad Company did a co-headlining tour. And it was cool because I was using a Mira, I had a red metal flake Mira, and he was using a mahogany Mira for Rocky Mountain Way for slide. And so we had our two Miras out there together, and we would put them together. His tech and my tech would get together and put them side by side on the stand and take pictures of them, you know, and said, Joe's a hoot, and what a great player, and what a nice man. I love Joe. He's a great guy, so I'm thrilled to hear that news.
So today he told the story of where the solos came from in Hotel California. I don't think he's ever told the story before. It's fascinating. I thought it was all written. Only the descending lines are written. Everything else was off the cuff, live in the studio playing. All those beautiful melodies just came out of their hands.
It's unbelievable how lucid that solo is.
Yeah, well, both of them, both Felder and him.
Yeah. Well, Felder had a cassette that he made of the original demo of the solo, and he couldn't remember it when he got to the studio. Don Henley said, "No, you had to sing on the demo that I loved." So he had to run back to Malibu, get his cassette, and come back and relearn that solo, that part of the solo anyway, the descending part. Yeah,
so it was fascinating to interview Joe about things that you always wondered about. You know, Howard, you'd appreciate this. When I talked to him, I said, you think vocal, right? He goes, no, I think melodic. And being in the James game forced me to play melodies, because when the solo came, if I wasn't playing a melody, it was useless over that groove.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I look at it too. I call it singing with my fingers.
Yeah.
You got a phrase, you know, nobody sings like, nobody sings that way. You got to phrase it where it's understandable. And people always like my soloing because it makes sense.
Makes sense. Always has, yeah.
That's what I try to do.
All right, Howard, now you get to ask me a crazy story.
Let me think here.
Oh, we got a lot of them.
Oh, I know we do.
While you're thinking of it, I'll tell you one more.
Okay.
We were experienced. This is not a question. We were experienced, and you and I were sitting down in the lunch area together, and there were all these customers walking around, and there were all these artists walking around, and there were all these dealers walking around. And I remember sitting with you thinking, this is the first time anybody in our industry has combined dealers, artists, and customers in the same place, and nobody's bothering each other. Nobody interrupted us the whole time. Remember, Howard?
Yeah.
What in the hell? It was the first time. I'm talking to the other group of people. It's the first time I'd ever seen that group of people be combined and be okay. You don't combine artists, dealers, and customers in the same thing. It's violating every line there was. And it was only one manufacturer, and you were there to make a deal around making those Golden Eagles, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I think what happened is people, the PRS nation, they know that you and I are friends and go back all the way to the beginning. I think they just thought they're not going to bother us because, you know, we're hanging out as friends, not as business partners, whatever. So.
That was so much fun. Was that the year Jim McCarty showed up? Yeah, I think Jimmy was there that year, right?
Yeah, McCarty was there, yeah. He's a fun guy, too.
Oh, he can play. I thought he stared at me. I thought he was going to kill me. I realized he wasn't kidding. He had that Detroit Cobo Hall look in his eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a rough town. I remember going body surfing with McCarty in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, Howard, you know something? I've always said you'd be good at running a guitar company. I've always said you're one of the most forward-thinking people in our industry. You've been a musician since you were a teenager. You got to work for 12 hours once between Hart and Paul Rogers. I don't think you've ever been out of work. You know what it is to get in the van and tour the country and try to get a record to break. You know what it is. The one rule that you give us that we absolutely live by As you once said with Hart, if you didn't love the track, you erased it. And we have a rule in this room: unless you love it, it gets erased.
Yeah, keep the standards high, man. Go try to do your best all the time. That's the key. That's why still up until recently I've been working more now than ever because I do Bad Company and I do the Rock Vault in Vegas, and I was working 250, 300 nights a year. And I'm supposed to be retired, so it took this virus to retire me.
Are you going to go back out?
Well, it remains to be seen, doesn't it? I mean, things are starting to open up. I haven't heard anything yet, but I'm good either way. It's been nice to be home for a year with my family, building a new house. I've been learning how to cook better. I'm getting pretty good in the kitchen. But if Paul Rogers calls me, I'm going to go. I promised him when I joined, I go, well, I'll go as long as you go. If you want to keep going, I'll keep going. And I figured that'd be 3, 4, 5 years. That was 22 years ago. So, yeah.
I think I think he's been really good for you. You've been good for him, and the music's always good. So
We have a good time. We have a real nice musical friendship.
yeah. You gave me the honor of being able to Be My Friend with him once. That was like a great day in Paul Smith's life.
Yeah. At that church in Atlanta. Tabernacle.
Be My Friend was at the Hopkins event.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
The thing in Atlanta was da 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 da. That was Rock and Roll Fantasy, and what fun was that?
Yeah.
And that was, by the way, that was loud. Oh my God.
I know. Well, that's a terrible sounding room. It's got that big.
Sound fills were going at about 500 dB. So.
Well, that's the way we do it. I still rock 3 Marshall stacks. Old school.
I can't. I lose my hearing.
All right. Well, if you when you get it live again and you want me to come down, just give me a call. I'll fly out. We'll hang out.
All right, Howard. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Good to see you.
All right. See you, my friend. Bye-bye.